do those things that children do when they grow up. So it's a very amazing thing to see. We've come a long way as a nation. I think we'll get there one day.
Is there anything that you want done with that executive director of that Police Officers Federation that made a comment on the radio? Is there, you want him to step down?
Well, I think police officers, police officers and people in those positions have got to be careful what they say. They're supposed to be guys who uphold the law. You're not supposed to show any animosity toward anyone. You're not supposed to make statements like that. You're supposed to do your job, and to say if he complied then he'd be alive. You're basically saying that we've got a right to execute you when we want to, right? Everyone's innocent until proven guilty, and as a lawyer and as citizens, we've got to keep fighting until that's the case. That's basically it. We just got to keep fighting. We're all in this together. We're taxpayers. And as taxpayers, they work for us. We pay their salary. So we deserve better service than that, right? So maybe something should be done. They need to look into that. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's a police officer or et cetera, but I know one police officer donated to someone's fund and got dismissed. I guess he donated to someone who had done something bad, Kyle Rittenhouse fund. Some police officer did something like that and he got removed or he got reprimanded for it. So police officers are held to a higher standard, just like me. Just like I am, I should say, just like a judge is. If we're doing something that's bad or we're making statements that we're not supposed to make, we can get admonished for that. So maybe so. I don't want to say his name. I don't know his name. I'm not trying to defame anybody, but I heard that there was a statement that was made that was insensitive at worst. I think you get what I'm saying.
In terms of this, a possible civil lawsuit, just maybe just talk about your thought process on when you would make a decision on that. Would you wait for the criminal?
Well, there are a lot of lawyers at play on this case. I think the other family has quite a few lawyers over there. Obviously, you saw some lawyers speaking at the funeral the other day. So strategically, from that point, sometimes we speak together to figure out the best avenue to move forward, because we don't want to jeopardize the case by different lawyers doing different things. So obviously we communicate with each other, and we'll want to open a dialogue with the city and the police department and any other possible defendant to see if there's some sort of resolution that we could reach outside of putting the family through all that pain and causing them all that expense. As far as
have you started the dialogue with
not yet. The funeral just happened yesterday. So I would imagine we'll start that pretty soon. Try to sit down and not only to figure out what to do with this case, but to figure out how to prevent this from happening again. I think that needs to be done immediately.
That would be with Brooklyn Center.
No, sorry, I haven't reached out yet to them.
Okay, so you mentioned the lawyers with the Wright family.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in communication with them about this or not yet?
Well, I just met them the other day. So we will be in communication. It's a common thing for lawyers to communicate, even though they represent different people concerning the same matter. Because you don't want to fight, amongst each other. You'd like to work together to see if you can get justice for everybody in the family, if it makes sense to you. Yeah. Anyone else? Any more questions? Thomas Bowers, Bowers with an S. I think I saw Bauer, it's it's Thomas, B as in boy, Owers, as in Sam. Bowers. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Again, the family wishes to thank the entire city for showing their support and moving forward, also showing that support in their journey for justice for Daunte Wright. And hopefully y'all have a good evening. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. I'm always available. Thank you. Oh, her aunt wanted to say something? Oh, the aunt wants to say something. I'd like to, Renee?
Renee Russell.
Renee Russell.
Hello. My name is Renee Russell. I'm one of 5 aunts of China Whitaker. I'm the great aunt of Daunte Wright Jr. China and Daunte Sr. Dated for 3 years. And like young teenagers, sometimes that relationship falls apart. However, they were still good friends, co-parenting, and still cared for one another. They had a son, Daunte Wright Jr. He was a preemie. He was born 1 pound, 12 ounces. You can hold him in your hand. So we weren't sure how his life was going to be because he being a preemie and being severe. He overcome. Things could still come from that. Speaking of Daunte Sr., he was a good father, devoted, dedicated, supportive of his son in China. I know in relationships, being a single mom, it's difficult, but being a single mom without a father is even worse. He will never have that time, that father and son time, playing ball, going to the games, dad and son talks when it comes to girls, and learning to be a man. But I can assure Daunte Sr. that we will take care of him, we will love him, be supportive of his son, show him love. He'll have love from both sides of the family. We just ask that it's just going to be difficult for China, being a single parent and not having her son's father there, because Daunte was involved. I think we'll help out with that right there, but unfortunately his life was ended sooner than we expected, never anticipated that. Even with, we were playing with Daunte Jr. the other day, and he just looked up and he said, "Daddy." And it was touching because God works in mysterious ways. And I think maybe that was the spirit coming down. It was his father on the son. I don't know, but I trust and believe that was. I just want China to know you have the love of your family, you and Daunte, and there's nothing for you to be concerned with because we have your back and we have the baby's back. And we'll do whatever we can to support her and help Daunte Jr. grow up to be healthy, not be fearful of being in a vehicle because he's black. So hopefully with things the way it is and the recent case of George Floyd, that things will change for the betterment, where we can walk and work and live in peace and not be threatened or intimidated or fearful of police or anyone, you know. So I just wanted to say that. And again, China, I love you. I love Daunte Jr., and you have our full support. And we'll help her however we can to get her through this moment. And thank you.
China's stepfather, Darren, wants to say a few words.
Good afternoon. It's a tragic event what happened with Daunte, and we want justice for Daunte. And we gonna give Daunte all the support that he needs. We're here to support China. We're here to seek justice for little Daunte's father, because he's gonna have to grow up without his father, and it's roles that I'm gonna have to play. His other family have to play, because everybody is gonna be a vital instrument in his life right now, and he need all the support and all the encouragement that he can receive. And it's a sad affair when people when we have police that police our community, when they shoot down a 20-year-old, a child, just taking a life, it's not a good thing, especially unjustly for no apparent reason. And now, not only the parents suffering, the children have to suffer, his son have to suffer, his baby mama have to suffer, the families have to suffer, his sisters and brothers have to suffer a tragic loss for nothing. And it's sad. And someone need to pay for that, because all the suffering that the family is doing, like I said, I feel that the city should pay for that tragedy that they inflicted on his family, on my family. And we got to stick together. We're going to come together, and we're going to give Daunte all the support that he needs, because it's sad. It's very sad. And like I said, in some of the statements that was made in this case, it shouldn't have been made. You know what I mean? The officer was wrong. Ain't no questioning that. And the city shouldn't question it. The officer was wrong. And they should have dealt with it a different way. Should have went about it a different way. And we will see, we want justice for Daunte. We want the justice for little Daunte. We want justice for China. We want justice for his parents. And we demand justice. We demand justice for Daunte Wright. We demand justice for little Daunte, because now he got to grow up without a father. So we all have to play father. His grandfather got to be a father. His father's got to be a father. His uncles, his brothers. Everybody have to be fathers in this life now, because he's going to need that support. Because they took away his father. And his mother is suffering. She had to wake up every day with her son, knowing that he'd never see his father again. And it's painful to her. And I hate to see my stepdaughter suffering the way she do, because it bothers her. To know that her son ain't gonna be able to wake up to his father. And when his father gonna have many questions. Mama, where's my dad? And she gonna have to answer them questions. Thank you all.
He's right. We should all, as American citizens, demand justice. And that should be our cry for the nation. Demand justice for anyone that's at the hand of injustice, received any sort of unjust behavior or treatment. Demand justice. But if anybody doesn't have any more questions, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, listening to China's family, and realize that it's not just that everybody's hurt. Not only do you have a community that's hurt, you've got a family that's broken and that may never heal, forever. And it's something that could have been prevented. And there's got to be small things that we can do as a community to make sure that this doesn't happen again. If we work together and speak out and do what we can do as individuals and as citizens and as human beings and as Americans. So thanks again. Hopefully everyone has a good and safe evening. And I appreciate y'all coming out. Thank you.